Jordan Peterson. How to Forgive Yourself in 6 Ways on How to Forgive Yourself. Jordan Peterson has offered some perspectives on self-forgiveness that focus on personal responsibility, understanding one's own capacity for mistakes, and taking concrete actions to reconcile with one's faults. Here's a breakdown of some key ideas he often brings up regarding self-forgiveness. Number 1 is acknowledging and understanding your mistakes is the first step towards self-forgiveness, and Jordan Peterson emphasizes its importance in personal growth. Here's how you can approach this step meaningfully. Face the reality of the mistake. Avoid the temptation to downplay or rationalize what happened. Acknowledging the mistake means seeing it clearly, as it really is, without minimizing it. By confronting it directly, you're choosing to accept it as part of your story. Reflect on what led to the mistake. Ask yourself, what were the circumstances, emotions, or thought patterns that contributed to the mistake? This introspection can help you uncover any unconscious beliefs or habits that may have influenced your actions. For example, were you acting out of fear, anger, or insecurity? Identify the impact of your actions. Consider the effects of your actions on yourself and others. Understanding the consequences helps deepen your empathy and can be an essential step toward making meaningful amends. This awareness also makes it less likely that you'll repeat similar actions in the future. Acknowledge your humanity. Peterson emphasizes that everyone has the potential to make mistakes. Acknowledging this common human experience allows you to view your actions within a broader context. Mistakes don't define you. They're part of being human, and accepting this truth can be both humbling and empowering. Separate the act from your identity. It's easy to internalize mistakes and think they make you a bad person. Peterson advises against letting your errors define your identity. Instead, see the mistake as something you did, not something you are. This shift helps you create space for personal growth and self-compassion. By acknowledging and understanding your mistakes in this way, you're setting the foundation for genuine self-forgiveness. This process is about honesty, responsibility, and empathy, qualities that will help you move forward with greater self-awareness and integrity. Number 2 is accepting your imperfections and humanity is a core principle of self-forgiveness, and Jordan Peterson underscores this idea in his work. Here's how you can engage with this concept meaningfully. 1. Recognize the universality of imperfection. Peterson often emphasizes that everyone, no matter how successful or seemingly flawless, has imperfections. We all make mistakes and have shortcomings, whether they're visible or not. Accepting that you're not perfect frees you from unrealistic expectations and allows you to embrace your flaws as part of being human. It's important to realize that your imperfections don't make you less worthy of love, respect, or growth. They make you human. 2. Forgive yourself for being human. Imperfection is inherent in being human, and Peterson suggests that we should forgive ourselves for our humanity. This means letting go of self-judgment and criticism when you inevitably make mistakes or fall short of your ideals. By practicing self-compassion, you begin to accept that it's okay to not always be at your best. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress and growth. 3. Understand your limits. Everyone has personal limits, whether mental, emotional, or physical. Recognizing that you can't do everything perfectly, or sometimes not at all, is key to self-acceptance. Peterson highlights that knowing your limits is part of maturity. It's a sign of strength to accept your limitations rather than try to push beyond them in ways that are damaging. 4. Embrace the struggle as part of life. Struggling with imperfections and flaws is natural. Peterson views this struggle as a necessary part of personal development. The process of facing difficulties, mistakes, and challenges is how you grow and become more resilient. Embracing these struggles allows you to develop strength and wisdom, and helps you avoid being paralyzed by the fear of failure or judgment. 5. Separate self-worth from perfection. Many people mistakenly tie their self-worth to their performance or the image they project to the world. Peterson encourages separating your sense of value from your mistakes or shortcomings. You are worthy of respect, kindness, and love simply because you are human. Accepting this allows you to be more compassionate toward yourself, especially when you face moments of failure. 6. See imperfections as opportunities for growth. Once you accept your imperfections, you can shift your mindset to see them as areas for improvement. Imperfection isn't something to be ashamed of, but something to work with and learn from. Each mistake or shortcoming can serve as a lesson, a stepping stone to becoming a better, more self-aware person. By accepting your imperfections and embracing your humanity, you cultivate a sense of self-compassion that is crucial for self-forgiveness. It allows you to see your mistakes in perspective, acknowledging them without letting them define you, and ultimately helps you grow as an individual. Number 3 is taking responsibility for your actions is crucial for self-forgiveness. But Jordan Peterson stresses that it's equally important not to be overwhelmed by guilt. Here's how to navigate this balance effectively. 1. Acknowledge your role in the situation. Taking responsibility starts with honestly assessing your involvement in the situation. Whether you acted out of ignorance, poor judgment, or intentional wrongdoing, it's essential to own your actions. This doesn't mean you have to accept blame for everything or that you are the sole cause of the problem, but recognizing your part allows you to take control and start making positive changes. 2. Understand the purpose of guilt. Peterson highlights that guilt can serve as a valuable signal. It's an emotional response that indicates you've done something that contradicts your values or moral compass. Guilt, in this sense, is meant to motivate reflection and change. It serves as a reminder to correct course, not as a tool for self-punishment. Guilt can guide you to learn from the mistake and make amends, but it should not dominate your mindset. 3. Don't let guilt paralyze you. While guilt can be constructive, it can also become a source of deep self-criticism if left unchecked. Peterson cautions against letting guilt overwhelm you to the point where you become paralyzed by shame or self-blame. When guilt turns into excessive self-criticism, it can lead to depression or an inability to take constructive action. Acknowledge the guilt, but don't let it define you or prevent you from moving forward. 4. Focus on what you can change. Instead of staying stuck in guilt over past actions, focus on what you can do to improve. Taking responsibility means recognizing that while you can't undo what's been done, you can control how you respond and how you behave moving forward. Peterson emphasizes the importance of making concrete changes to ensure that you learn from your mistakes and avoid repeating them. This action-oriented approach helps shift guilt from a negative emotion into a motivating force for growth. 5. Practice self-compassion. In line with the idea of taking responsibility without being overwhelmed by guilt, Peterson advises showing yourself the same compassion you would show a loved one who made a mistake. Recognize that you're human and forgive yourself for failing. Allow yourself to grow from the experience and give yourself permission to move forward with a commitment to better behavior. Self-compassion helps prevent guilt from becoming destructive. 6. Use guilt as a tool for growth. Lastly, Peterson suggests that guilt can be an opportunity for self-improvement if you approach it constructively. Instead of viewing guilt as a sign of weakness or failure, see it as a signal to do better. Understand that growth requires discomfort, and guilt can be a catalyst for real change if you allow it to teach you. By taking responsibility for your actions and using guilt constructively, you can avoid being bogged down by negative emotions. This allows you to move towards self-forgiveness in a way that fosters growth, empowerment, and deeper self-awareness, while still maintaining the integrity of your moral framework. Number 4 is making amends and changing your actions are essential steps in the process of self-forgiveness, as they demonstrate accountability and a commitment to growth. Jordan Peterson emphasizes that true forgiveness involves not only reflecting on your mistakes, but also taking meaningful steps to correct them. Here's how to approach these steps effectively. 1. Acknowledge the harm caused. Before making amends, it's important to fully understand the impact your actions had on others. Reflect on how your behavior affected the people around you, whether it caused emotional harm, damaged relationships, or created other consequences. This step requires honesty and empathy. Acknowledging the harm makes it easier to take responsibility for it and shows that you are genuinely aware of the effects of your actions. 2. Take action to repair the damage. Making amends means taking tangible steps to repair the harm you've caused. Peterson stresses that simply apologizing is not enough if it's not followed by genuine action. The specific actions will depend on the nature of the mistake, but examples include apologizing sincerely to the person or people involved, restoring trust through consistent, honest, and respectful behavior, Offering restitution if applicable, such as compensating someone financially or emotionally for what you've taken or harmed. Clarifying misunderstandings if there were any miscommunications that led to the conflict. Taking responsibility and acting to make things right can show that you are committed to personal growth and to repairing relationships. 3. Learn from the experience. Peterson often talks about the importance of learning from mistakes. Simply apologizing and making amends is not enough if you don't change your behavior. You must understand the root causes of your actions and work to avoid repeating them. This means identifying any patterns of behavior or negative influences in your life and taking steps to change them. Whether it's addressing emotional triggers, changing your communication habits, or improving your self-discipline, making amends is paired with genuine change. 4. Commit to long-term change. True self-forgiveness is not about forgetting the past, but learning from it and becoming better. Once you've made amends, it's important to commit to long-term change. Peterson often advises creating new habits or adopting new values to prevent similar mistakes in the future. This could involve setting boundaries to avoid situations where you might repeat your mistake, seeking therapy or guidance to work on deeper issues that contributed to the behavior, building self-awareness through mindfulness practices or journaling so you can catch harmful patterns early. Making amends is a process, not a one-time act, and it requires sustained effort over time. 5. Embody the change you seek. Once you've taken steps to repair the harm and learned from your mistake, Peterson advises you to embody the changes you've made. This means living according to the values you now hold dear and demonstrating through your actions that you are different. It's about proving, not just saying, that you've changed and that your mistakes will not define you moving forward. 6. Forgive yourself through action. Often, we think that self-forgiveness is something that happens in our minds, but Peterson believes it's also something that can be achieved through concrete actions. When you take responsibility for your actions, make amends, and change your behavior, you show yourself that you are capable of growth and redemption. This process helps you forgive yourself by proving, through your actions, that you are committed to becoming a better person. By making amends and changing your actions, you transform self-forgiveness from a passive state into an active, ongoing process of growth. It involves taking real steps to make things right, learning from the past, and committing to becoming a better version of yourself. This not only helps rebuild relationships with others, but also allows you to rebuild trust in yourself. Number 5 is integrating the lesson and moving forward is a crucial step in the process of self-forgiveness, according to Jordan Peterson. It's about turning the experience of failure or mistakes into a source of personal growth, so that you don't simply dwell on past errors, but use them as a foundation for becoming a better, more self-aware individual. Here's how you can approach this step. 1. Reflect on the lessons learned. After acknowledging your mistakes, making amends, and changing your behavior, the next step is to reflect deeply on the lessons you've learned from the experience. Peterson emphasizes that mistakes are valuable if we learn from them. Ask yourself, what can this experience teach me about myself? How can this mistake help me make better choices in the future? What patterns of behavior do I need to change to avoid repeating the same mistake? Reflecting on these questions helps you internalize the lessons and ensures that the mistake doesn't simply fade into the past without meaningful change. 2. Incorporate the lesson into your identity. To truly integrate the lesson, you need to shift how you view yourself. This means seeing the mistake not as a defining moment of failure, but as a necessary part of your journey. Peterson suggests that you allow the lesson to become part of who you are. For example, if you've learned to be more patient, rather than simply remembering the mistake, you embody patience in your daily interactions. The key is to view the experience as a growth opportunity rather than a permanent setback. 3. Let go of the past, but keep the wisdom. Moving forward involves not clinging to guilt or regret over what happened. It's important to let go of any emotional baggage tied to the mistake while retaining the wisdom it provides. Peterson advocates for focusing on the present and future rather than staying trapped in the past. This is about accepting that the mistake can't be undone, but you can choose how to respond to it moving forward. Letting go of the past allows you to release negative emotions that hinder progress while still respecting the lessons it brought. 4. Commit to ongoing growth. Integrating the lesson involves a commitment to continuous self-improvement. You don't just move on with your life as if the mistake never happened. Instead, you consciously choose to use the experience to fuel ongoing personal development. Peterson often talks about the importance of striving toward the best version of yourself. You can do this by setting new goals based on what you've learned, continuously monitoring your behavior to ensure you are living in alignment with your values, using the mistake as a reminder of how far you've come, rather than something that defines you. Growth is an ongoing process, and integrating lessons from past mistakes helps you build a more resilient, adaptable, and self-aware mindset. 5. Embrace the journey, not the perfection. Peterson believes that life is about the journey, not achieving perfection. As you integrate the lesson and move forward, it's important to embrace the ongoing nature of self-improvement. Life will continue to present challenges and opportunities for growth. Accept that you'll make mistakes again, and that these will provide further lessons. The goal is not to avoid mistakes, but to learn from them and continue moving forward with a more refined understanding of yourself and the world. 6. Focus on positive action and new opportunities. One of the most empowering ways to integrate a lesson is to focus on new opportunities and positive action. Moving forward means actively looking for ways to apply the lessons you've learned in different areas of your life. By focusing on creating new, positive experiences and actions, you shift your attention away from the past and direct it toward building a better future. This proactive approach helps you leave behind regret and replace it with hope and determination. 7. Help others learn from your experience. Finally, Peterson suggests that sharing the lessons you've learned with others can be an important part of integrating them. When you help others who are struggling with similar issues, you reinforce your own understanding and contribute to the well-being of those around you. Teaching, mentoring, or simply offering advice to others not only solidifies your growth, but can also build a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. By integrating the lessons from your mistakes and moving forward, you shift from a mindset of failure to one of growth and resilience. Peterson emphasizes that this process is about taking responsibility, learning from your experiences, and continually striving to improve. It's not about erasing the past, but about using it as a source of wisdom to guide you into the future. This mindset allows you to truly forgive yourself and live with a sense of purpose and direction. And number 6 is practicing self-compassion is a vital element of self-forgiveness, and Jordan Peterson offers its importance in maintaining emotional resilience and growth. Self-compassion allows you to treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer to others when they make mistakes, without harsh self-criticism or judgment. Here's how you can practice self-compassion effectively. 1. Acknowledge your pain without judging yourself. Self-compassion begins with acknowledging your suffering or mistakes without judgment. It's easy to fall into a trap of self-criticism, but Peterson suggests that when you make a mistake, you should first recognize the emotional pain associated with it, whether it's guilt, shame, or regret, and allow yourself to feel it. Instead of berating yourself, try to observe these feelings without attaching a label of failure or worthlessness. Accept that feeling bad about your mistakes is natural, but it doesn't mean you are a bad person. 2. Treat yourself as you would a friend. One of the simplest ways to practice self-compassion is to ask yourself, if this were a friend who had made this mistake, what would I say to them? Most likely, you would offer them understanding, encouragement, and reassurance, reminding them that everyone makes mistakes and that growth comes from learning. Peterson suggests that this kind of compassionate self-talk is crucial for moving past self-judgment and accepting your humanity. When you make a mistake, try to treat yourself with the same empathy and care you would offer someone you love. 3. Challenge your inner critic. Self-compassion involves silencing the harsh inner critic that tends to amplify your mistakes and self-doubt. Peterson points out that many people have an internal dialogue that is excessively critical and harsh. When these critical thoughts arise, try to counter them with more supportive and understanding thoughts. Instead of thinking, "I'm so stupid for doing that," try to reframe it as, "I made a mistake, but I can learn from this and do better next time." This shift in mindset helps you avoid becoming trapped in negative emotions and enables you to maintain your self-worth despite errors. 4. Embrace your imperfections as part of being human. Part of self-compassion is accepting that you are imperfect and that mistakes are inevitable. Peterson suggests that we tend to hold ourselves to unattainable standards, which can lead to unnecessary self-criticism. By acknowledging that being human means being fallible, you allow yourself to be more forgiving. Embrace your imperfections as opportunities for growth rather than as flaws that define you. 5. Avoid self-pity and over-identification with mistakes. While it's important to feel your emotions and be kind to yourself, self-compassion also means avoiding self-pity or wallowing in your mistakes. Peterson warns against using self-compassion as an excuse to remain stuck in negativity or to avoid taking responsibility for change. It's about finding balance, acknowledging your mistakes and emotions without over-identifying with them. You're not defined by your mistakes. They are simply events that provide opportunities for growth. 6. Practice mindfulness of your emotions. Being mindful of your emotional state without being overwhelmed by it is a key aspect of self-compassion. Peterson notes that mindfulness allows you to observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment, so you can respond to them consciously rather than react impulsively. When you make a mistake, instead of automatically reacting with self-criticism or shame, take a moment to breathe and observe how you feel. By doing so, you create space between your emotions and your response, which allows you to choose a compassionate approach to yourself. 7. Focus on your efforts, not just the outcome. Often, we are overly focused on the outcome, whether it's a success or failure, without giving enough credit to the effort that went into the process. Peterson encourages focusing on the effort rather than just the result. Even if you make a mistake or fall short of your expectations, recognize the hard work you put in. Acknowledging that you tried your best, even if things didn't go as planned, can help reduce feelings of inadequacy and encourage a more compassionate view of yourself. 8. Forgive yourself for being human. At its core, self-compassion is about accepting your humanity, your vulnerability, flaws, and mistakes, and extending forgiveness to yourself. Peterson emphasizes that self-forgiveness is not about excusing bad behavior, but about understanding that mistakes are part of the human condition. By forgiving yourself, you allow space for growth and improvement, rather than being bogged down by guilt, shame, or self-recrimination. In summary, practicing self-compassion involves treating yourself with kindness, understanding, and patience, especially during times of struggle or failure. It requires challenging self-criticism, acknowledging your imperfections, and focusing on growth rather than perfection. Jordan Peterson's approach to self-compassion emphasizes the importance of accepting your humanity and learning from your mistakes, which ultimately fosters a healthier relationship with yourself and a deeper sense of emotional resilience. Self-forgiveness, in Peterson's view, isn't about forgetting the past, but rather using it as a foundation for becoming a better version of yourself.